Emma stood in the grand foyer of her husband's family estate, her hands gripping the handle of her suitcase a little too tightly. The marble floors gleamed under the afternoon sun, casting long shadows that stretched toward the heavy mahogany doors. The house always felt cold, beautiful, luxurious, but cold, just like the people who lived in it. Nathan adjusted his cufflinks, barely sparing her a glance. "You'll be fine here, Emma. It's just 2 weeks. Make sure Sophia is comfortable. And don't forget her medication schedule." His tone was dismissive, as if he were assigning her a mundane chore rather than leaving her behind while he and his family jetted off to Europe. Emma swallowed the bitterness rising in her throat. "You really expect me to stay here and take care of your sister while you all go on vacation?" Nathan sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Emma, we've been over this. Sophia needs someone to look after her. And you're the only one I trust. Besides, you wouldn't enjoy Paris. It's a work trip. Mostly." A lie. She knew at the moment the words left his mouth. She had seen the way he avoided her eyes when he first brought up the trip. The way his mother, Miranda, had smirked over the rim of her wine glass. This wasn't about Sophia needing care. It was about keeping Emma here, out of sight, out of mind. Miranda stepped forward, her perfectly manicured fingers resting lightly on Nathan's arm. "Darling, let's not make a fuss. Emma understands her role, don't you, dear?" Emma's jaw tightened. Her role. She had married Nathan thinking they were equals, that they would build a life together. But over time, she realized she was nothing more than an accessory, a placeholder in a life Nathan had already designed without her input. She glanced toward the staircase leading up to Sophia's room. The younger woman had been an enigma since the day Emma married into this family. She never spoke, never moved from her wheelchair. And yet, there was something about her that unsettled Emma. A quiet presence that felt too aware, too calculating. Nathan kissed Emma's cheek absent-mindedly before turning to the door. "We'll be back before you know it." And just like that, they were gone. The heavy silence of the house settled around her. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt completely alone. She turned, dragging her suitcase upstairs toward the guest room she had been assigned. Her mind raced with thoughts of what the next 2 weeks would be like. She had no idea that within the next 24 hours, her entire world would be turned upside down. The first night in the house was eerily quiet. Emma lay awake in the guest room, staring at the ceiling as the old grandfather clock in the hallway chimed the hours away. The estate was too big, too empty, even with the staff around. It felt abandoned. Around midnight, a strange sound broke the silence. A faint creaking, like the floorboards shifting under someone's weight. Emma sat up, her heart pounding. She listened carefully, holding her breath. The noise came from upstairs, Sophia's room. She pushed the covers aside and stepped into the dimly lit hallway. The house felt colder than before. Each step she took toward Sophia's door echoed slightly. The door was slightly ajar. Emma hesitated before pushing it open. Sophia wasn't in her wheelchair. Emma's breath caught in her throat. Sophia was standing. Not just standing, she was pulling on a coat. Her movements quick and deliberate. For a moment, their eyes met. Sophia's expression was unreadable, a mixture of amusement and challenge. "You can walk," Emma whispered, the words barely escaping her lips. Sophia smirked, tilting her head. Surprise. Emma felt a rush of confusion and betrayal. All these years, Nathan and his family had treated Sophia like she was completely dependent. Unable to move, unable to speak. But now, standing in front of her was a woman who didn't just look healthy, she looked like she had been waiting for this moment. Before Emma could say another word, Sophia grabbed her wrist. "We're leaving." Emma blinked. "What?" Sophia pulled her forward, her grip surprisingly strong. "I don't have time to explain. But I need you to trust me. If you stay in this house, they'll destroy you, just like they tried to destroy me." Emma's mind spun. Nathan? His family? Sophia's eyes darkened. "They're not who you think they are." A chill ran down Emma's spine. Before she could fully process what was happening, Sophia dragged her toward the back staircase. "I have a car waiting outside. If you want to know the truth about your husband, come with me. If not, go back to your room and pretend you never saw this." Emma's feet were frozen in place. She had so many questions. So many doubts. But deep down, something told her this was her only chance to escape whatever twisted game Nathan's family was playing. She took a shaky breath. And then, she followed Sophia into the darkness. Emma's heart pounded as she followed Sophia down the back staircase. The cold night air seeping in through the slightly open door. Everything about this felt surreal. Sophia, who had spent years in a wheelchair, now walking effortlessly, the urgency in her voice, the way she spoke about Nathan and his family as if they were hiding something sinister. The moment they stepped outside, a sleek black car was waiting, its engine humming softly. A driver in a dark suit stood by the door, nodding at Sophia as he opened it. "Hurry," Sophia urged, climbing into the back seat. Emma hesitated. What was she doing? Running away in the middle of the night with her supposedly disabled sister-in-law? This was insane. But then she thought about the strange way Nathan had been acting. The uneasy feeling she had every time his mother looked at her with that forced smile. The way his father seemed coldly indifferent. She took a deep breath and got in. The door shut behind her with a soft thud, sealing her fate. The car pulled away from the estate, gliding down the long, tree-lined driveway. Emma glanced at Sophia, who was calmly adjusting the cuffs of her coat as if this were just another night out. "Start talking," Emma demanded. Sophia smirked. "I was wondering when you'd ask." Emma folded her arms, feeling a mix of frustration and anxiety. "For years, I've watched Nathan and his family treat you like a helpless child. They said you were paralyzed. They said you couldn't speak. And now, here you are, walking, talking, escaping in the middle of the night. So tell me, what the hell is going on?" Sophia sighed, leaning her head back against the seat. "I was never paralyzed. That was their lie. They needed me to be seen as weak, dependent, incapable of making my own decisions." Emma frowned. "Why?" "Because of the inheritance." Emma's stomach twisted. Sophia continued. "My father, the real head of the family, not Nathan's controlling mother, left everything to me. The estate, the assets, even the controlling shares of the company." She turned to Emma, her expression unreadable. "I own it all." Emma's mouth went dry. "Then why?" "Because they knew they couldn't take it from me legally. So they did the next best thing. They made the world believe I wasn't capable of running the family business." Emma shook her head. "That's insane." Sophia let out a dry laugh. "Is it? Have you ever noticed how controlled everything is in that house? How they made sure you never got too close to me? Never asked too many questions?" Emma thought back to the way Nathan would always brush off any discussions about Sophia. The way his mother seemed overly protective of her but never in a way that felt truly caring. It was always about control. She shuddered. "So what now? You run away forever?" Sophia's smirk returned. "No, Emma. Now, I take back what's mine." Emma's pulse quickened. "And as for you," Sophia added, "you have a choice. Go back to Nathan and pretend none of this ever happened. Or stay with me and find out who your husband really is." Emma swallowed hard, staring at the dark road ahead. She knew there was no turning back now. Emma's mind raced as the city lights flickered past the car windows. Every instinct in her body told her she should be panicking. But instead, there was a strange sense of clarity settling over her. She had known, deep down, something had always felt off about Nathan and his family. The carefully curated appearances, the way conversations were steered away from certain topics, the way she was expected to play the perfect wife, never asking too many questions. And now, Sophia had just torn the veil off everything. Emma turned to her sister-in-law. "How did they even convince people you were paralyzed? That's extreme." Sophia exhaled slowly, her fingers tapping against her knee. "It wasn't overnight. It started small. A few accidents that left me bedridden for a while. Misdiagnosed conditions. Doctors who were conveniently on my mother's payroll. By the time I was old enough to fight back, the world already believed I was helpless." Emma shivered. "And Nathan? He knew?" Sophia's lips twisted into something between a smirk and a grimace. "Nathan knew everything. He played the perfect, oblivious brother on the outside. But inside that house, he was part of it. He benefited from it. The plan was always to keep me locked away until I either agreed to sign everything over, or they found a legal loophole to take it from me." Emma clenched her fists. "That's insane. It's calculated, Sophia corrected. They didn't want a scandal. They didn't want a messy fight that could draw attention. So they slowly erased my agency, my rights, until I became nothing more than a name on legal documents. An asset they controlled. Emma swallowed hard. The thought of Nathan, her husband, being a part of something so cruel made her stomach twist. "You're sure about this?" she asked. Sophia chuckled, shaking her head. "You're asking me if I'm sure after I just escaped from that house in the middle of the night?" Emma hesitated. "I mean, are you sure you can win? They have everything. The money, the influence." Sophia's eyes flashed with something fierce. They had everything, but they made one mistake. Emma leaned in. "What mistake?" Sophia's smirk returned. "They underestimated me." The car slowed to a stop in front of a sleek, modern high-rise building. The driver stepped out, opening the door for them. Sophia turned to Emma, her voice quiet but firm. "If you want to leave, now's your chance. Once you step inside with me, there's no going back." Emma took a deep breath. For the first time in her life, she wasn't sure who Nathan really was. But looking at Sophia, seeing the fire in her eyes, the strength in her posture, she realized something else. She wasn't sure who she was anymore, either. Emma stepped out of the car. "Let's do this." Sophia smiled. "Good choice." They walked into the building together, the night air buzzing with electricity. This was just the beginning. The elevator doors slid open to a luxurious penthouse suite. But it wasn't the extravagant space that caught Emma's attention, it was the people inside. A group of men and women, sharply dressed, their eyes flicking up from laptops and stacks of papers as Sophia entered. The energy in the room was electric. A tension that spoke of something big about to happen. A tall man in his early 50s strode forward, his salt and pepper hair neatly styled, his expression unreadable. "You're late," he said, though there was a trace of amusement in his voice. Sophia smirked. "Blame traffic. Uncle Ray." Emma blinked. "Uncle?" Ray turned his piercing gaze to her, sizing her up. "And this is?" Sophia gestured toward Emma. "My sister-in-law, Nathan's wife." Ray's eyebrows lifted slightly, but he gave a nod of approval. "Brave girl." Emma shifted uncomfortably. "Can someone please tell me what's going on?" Sophia moved to the center of the room, where a large screen displayed a web of bank accounts, legal contracts, and business holdings. "I told you my family tried to erase me," she said. "What I didn't tell you is that they failed." She turned to Ray. "Did you get it?" Ray smirked, gesturing to a laptop. "Every transfer, every offshore account, every fraud scheme your mother and brother ever pulled." Emma's eyes widened. "Wait, you have proof?" Sophia crossed her arms. "Not just proof, a blueprint of their entire empire. How they launder money, how they manipulate contracts, even how they bribe officials to look the other way." Emma felt her heart race. "And what exactly are you going to do with all this?" Sophia's smirk deepened. "Burn it to the ground." A woman with sleek blonde hair stepped forward, holding a thick stack of documents. "The legal route is an option. With what we have, we can open investigations that would tie them up in court for years." Ray scoffed. "Too slow." A younger man, barely out of his 20s, grinned. "We could leak the documents anonymously. Let the press tear them apart." Sophia nodded. "That's one option. But I want them bankrupt before they even realize what's happening." Emma swallowed. "And how do we do that?" Ray stepped forward, sliding a document in front of her. "They built their fortune on fraud," he said. "But their power? That comes from reputation. If the right people pull their investments at the right time, they'll have nothing left." Emma hesitated. "You want to make them lose everything?" Sophia's voice was like steel. "They deserve to lose everything." Emma exhaled. The Nathan she thought she knew was already gone. The man she married had betrayed her, used her. She looked at the document in front of her. This was her chance to take back her own power. She met Sophia's gaze. "I'm in." The room hummed with tension as Emma picked up the document, scanning the dense legal jargon. She wasn't a business expert, but the words were clear enough. This was an attack plan. A way to dismantle Nathan and his mother's empire piece by piece. Sophia leaned forward, her voice steady. "We don't just want them exposed. We want them cornered. If we pull the right strings, every investor, Every client and every silent partner will run for the hills before they even have time to react. Ray smirked. Think of it like this. If they wake up tomorrow and suddenly no one is willing to do business with them, what happens? Emma exhaled. They crumble. Sophia nodded. Exactly. The blonde woman, Jessica, as Emma had learned, spoke up. We've already begun. Anonymous leaks to journalists. Financial irregularities flagged to regulatory boards. We're feeding just enough to make people nervous but not enough for your dear husband and his mother to realize they're under attack. Emma bit her lip. And when do they realize? Ray chuckled. Oh, they'll know soon enough. We're just waiting for the final domino to fall. Sophia tapped the table. And that's where you come in. Emma's stomach tightened. Me? Sophia slid a different document toward her. It was a contract, her contract. The prenup she signed before marrying Nathan. Your husband thinks you're clueless. Sophia said. That you'll just take the divorce settlement he offers and disappear quietly. Emma clenched her fists. That was exactly what Nathan expected, because that was the kind of woman he thought she was. Sophia smirked. But you're going to do the opposite. Emma's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Ray leaned back, watching her carefully. You demand your share of the company. Emma's breath hitched. But the prenup, Jessica cut in, smirking, is void if there's proof of infidelity. Sophia crossed her arms. And guess what we have? A new set of papers was placed before Emma, photographs, screenshots, receipts, Nathan and his mistress, dinners, hotel rooms, even bank transfers to her personal account. Emma felt something in her chest tighten. So it wasn't just an affair, he was financing her life. Sophia's voice was sharp. This gives you leverage. You don't just walk away. Emma, you take back what's yours. Emma swallowed. And if I refuse? Sophia studied her for a moment before speaking softly. You could walk away with nothing. Let them keep their power, their wealth, while you start over from scratch. She shrugged. Or, you can help us end them. The room fell silent. Emma closed her eyes for a moment. Nathan had underestimated her. His mother had dismissed her. They all thought she was weak. But they were wrong. She opened her eyes, gripping the pen tightly. Tell me what I need to do. The moment Emma signed her name on the document, a shift occurred. It was subtle, but she could feel it, the weight of hesitation dissolving, replaced by a quiet, simmering determination. Sophia smiled. Welcome to the fight. Emma exhaled, pushing the papers back toward Ray, who nodded in approval. So, she said, her voice steady, how do we make sure this works? Sophia leaned forward. We're going to hit them on all fronts. Financially, legally, socially. The goal is simple. We strip them of every advantage until there's nowhere left to run. Emma's pulse quickened. Where do we start? Jessica smirked. With you. She tapped on the folder filled with evidence of Nathan's affair. You're going to meet with your lawyer and demand your rightful share. Your prenup is dead in the water. You have leverage. Use it. Emma swallowed. And if Nathan fights back? Ray chuckled. Oh, he will. But that's exactly what we want. The more desperate he gets, the sloppier he becomes. And when he starts making mistakes. Sophia's eyes gleamed. We'll be there to bury him. Emma took a deep breath. And his mother? Sophia's expression darkened. We're already working on that. Her reputation is everything. Without it, she's just another aging socialite clinging to a fading legacy. A few well-placed whispers. A couple of strategic leaks to the right people, and suddenly, she's toxic. Emma felt a thrill of satisfaction. For years, she had been the quiet, obedient wife, the one who smiled, nodded, and stayed out of the way. But that Emma was gone. I'll set up a meeting with my lawyer, she said. Sophia grinned. Good. Because once you make your move, there's no turning back. Emma nodded. I don't want to turn back. For the first time in years, she felt in control. And soon, Nathan and his mother would realize exactly what that meant. Emma sat in the plush leather chair across from her attorney, Mark Atwood, as he scanned the documents she had handed him. His sharp eyes flicked over the pages. And every so often, he hummed in a way that made her stomach twist. Finally, he looked up. This is airtight. Nathan's been hiding assets, funneling money into accounts you weren't supposed to know about. Emma clenched her fists. Can we use that against him? Mark nodded. Not only can we use it, but if we expose it the right way, he'll have no choice but to settle fast, especially if we threaten to take this to court. Judges don't take kindly to financial deception, especially when there's a clear attempt to shortchange a spouse. Emma exhaled. So what's our next move? We file immediately, Mark said. Nathan won't see it coming. Emma hesitated for only a moment before nodding. Do it. She had spent too much of her life waiting for Nathan to love her the way she deserved. Waiting for his mother to accept her. Waiting for things to change. No more. Meanwhile, Sophia was making her own moves. She sat across from Margaret's closest confidant, a woman named Evelyn Montgomery, at an upscale lounge. The woman had been Margaret's dear friend for years, until recently. I assume you've seen the rumors circulating? Sophia said, stirring her drink with deliberate slowness. Evelyn scoffed. Of course. Margaret's been unraveling for months. The way she flaunted that assistant of Nathan's, what was her name? Lydia? She sneered. The woman has no class. She doesn't realize that in our world, discretion is everything. Sophia smirked. And yet, she still walks around as if she's untouchable. Evelyn's eyes darkened. Not for much longer. Sophia leaned in. Good. Because if she falls, we both win. And I have just the push she needs to go over the edge. She slid a small envelope across the table. Inside were records of Margaret's financial manipulations, how she had used her influence to steer contracts toward businesses she secretly profited from, how she had covered up scandals that would have ruined lesser women. Evelyn's lips curled. This is delicious. Sophia's voice was smooth. It's only the beginning. Margaret had built her empire on the illusion of control. It was time to take that away from her. Nathan received the divorce papers 3 days later. He was at his office when they arrived, hand-delivered by a process server. His secretary placed them on his desk with a wary look. What's this? Nathan muttered, flipping through the pages. And then he saw it. The proof of his hidden accounts. The demand for a fair split of assets, including Emma's rightful share of the properties, stocks, and investments he had tried to bury. His grip tightened. His phone buzzed. A message from his mother. Margaret, we have a problem. Nathan's stomach dropped. He had no idea that his problem was about to become the least of his worries. Margaret paced across her lavish living room, her fingers trembling as she gripped her phone. The headlines were already spreading like wildfire. Socialite Margaret Langley under investigation for financial misconduct. Corruption scandal unfolds. Luxury empire at risk. Nathan stormed in, slamming the divorce papers on the coffee table. Care to explain why my assets are suddenly exposed? And why you are the latest scandal in the news? Margaret's expression darkened. Don't take that tone with me. Nathan, I raised you better than to be careless. Careless? He barked. Emma has me cornered. She's coming for everything. And now you're making headlines like some third-rate fraudster? Margaret exhaled sharply, regaining her composure. I will handle it. The question is, can you? Before Nathan could respond, a voice rang through the room. I think that's already been decided. They turned to see Emma standing at the doorway, Sophia at her side. How did you? Nathan started. But Emma held up a hand. I came to say thank you. She smiled, but there was steel behind it. For showing me exactly what I don't want in my life. She turned to Margaret. And congratulations, you finally got what you wanted. I'm out of your son's life for good. Margaret scoffed. You think this changes anything? Emma tilted her head. I don't think. I know. She slid a folder onto the table. Nathan hesitated before opening it, then paled. It was a finalized settlement agreement. One he had no choice but to accept unless he wanted his financial skeletons dragged into court. You should have been more careful. Emma said softly. You should have valued me while you had the chance. Nathan clenched his jaw, his world crumbling around him. Emma turned on her heel and walked out, Sophia following behind. As they stepped onto the street, Emma exhaled, feeling lighter than she had in years. Sophia grinned. So, what now? Emma smiled. Now, I start over, my way. And with that, she left the past behind, where it belonged. This story is a powerful reminder that strength comes from within. Emma was betrayed, manipulated, and underestimated, but instead of letting it break her, she fought back and reclaimed her life. She didn't just walk away, she made sure that those who wronged her faced the consequences. It's a lesson in resilience, self-worth, and the courage to start over on your own terms. What do you think about this story? Comment 2 if you loved it or 7 if it wasn't your favorite. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to stay updated with our latest content.